Hello, everyone. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Chris. Chris is from Kent in England, in the UK. So let's see what Chris has to say. Enjoy the interview. Amazing. Yes. Hello, Chris. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well. Thanks so much for taking the time this evening for the interview. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for the invite.
So tell me, how's your day going so far?
It's been all right. Nice, easy, straightforward day today.
Uh-huh.
No, you say weather's been nice. Done some washing, done a bit of work, and sorted the kids out with their dinner, and now we're here.
Tell me, what was the highlight of your day today?
The highlight of my day today. Honestly, I've not been a lot. So probably picking up the kids from school, treating them to an ice cream, and picking them up.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Tell me where you're from, Chris.
I'm from Kent, so just outside of London.
Born and raised?
Yeah, pretty much. I've been about a little bit, but generally around this area. Spent a couple of years living in Cambridgeshire and a couple of years working for holiday companies abroad. But yeah, pretty much born and raised here.
Tell me a little bit about Kent. People watching this interview right now, maybe they're not familiar with England, Kent. Talk me through a little bit about Kent.
Okay. Well, Kent is known as the Garden of England.
Okay.
It's got lots of beautiful countrysides. We have a vast coastline, so lots of different nice beaches down here. Lots of famous ones like Dover and Deal, Margate, Ramsgate, all those loads of seasides here. We have cities. We've got Canterbury, we've got Rochester. So we got quite a few like historic cities with castles and things like that. Lots of castles in Kent. But yeah, so it's a nice place. But like everywhere, it's got its downsides. Some well-known areas of downsides, like. But yeah, it's nice.
You just made my day now. I've been living in England, over 18 years, and I never heard this. I didn't know that Kent is considered the Garden of England. Didn't know that.
Yeah. You drive in, and so I think even as you come over the bridge from like Lakeside, Thurrock direction, welcome to Kent, the Garden of England. So,
amazing. And what do you do for work, for living?
I'm an asbestos surveyor. So I go around buildings looking for hazardous materials. Which takes me to some interesting places, but it's generally not very exciting.
Amazing. Okay, so during the interview, I'm going to explore a bit more about your life and also about your journey so far, okay?
Yeah.
But before we start our journey within the Magic Box, would you like you to tell me something interesting about yourself, or maybe something that not many people know about you?
Maybe something not very many people know. Okay, well, I guess a lot of people know. The thing is, I talk a lot about a lot of things I've been up to because I suppose I spent a fair amount of time doing lives. I've talked about working abroad. I've talked about working in movies and things like that. The one thing I probably haven't really spoke about very much online with TikTok is that as a teenager, I was suicidal for a couple of years. So that I have no issue talking about, but I haven't really talked about much with TikTok.
Right.
But it's something we'll get to at some point, I'm sure. But other than that, I talk about everything. So I'm into jiu-jitsu. I grew up doing like martial arts, so I've always been involved. I worked abroad as a children's entertainer for a few years. So I spent a couple of winters snowboarding as well. So I've done a reasonable amount, but say most things I happily talk about. So most people already know these things. There's not a lot of hidden gems with me anymore.
Yeah, thanks again for sharing that. I think those personal events in life, sometimes we don't talk very easy, you know what I mean? Yeah. And sometimes, talking about can be a bit of more understanding, healing, helping people.
Yeah.
So it comes from, it brings good vibe from good place for us. Amazing. Are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and share your point of views?
Absolutely.
Welcome to William in the Magic Box.
Thank you.
I see my best friend. Full of wonderful questions So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to play a song just for us to relax before the first question. Okay?
Okay.
Let's do it. Yes, you can always dance with me.
Yeah, I'll dance for you.
So before we start the game, during the journey, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about, you don't want to answer, change, okay?
No problem.
First question is, what does success mean to you?
To me, success is happiness. I don't see, well, not that finances obviously are an issue. We need money to survive. But for me, success is having most of my ducks in a row, having a happy family life, good spirits, and yeah, that to me, I feel successful. I've got an awesome wife. I've got amazing kids. My job provides a house and food, and we get to have holidays. We have a nice life. And as much as everyone, more money would be great. I don't see that as like a signifier of success. For me, my success is my happiness. So that's the point for me.
Totally agree. I think for you to be able to be in a place where you are happy with you surround you, family, kids, people around you, I think that's the meaning of success for sure. Saying that, do you believe that happiness is a choice?
It definitely can be a choice. I think negativity and people holding on to a lot of negativity certainly creates some sadness that isn't always necessary. You can choose to make changes to make you happier. Like I say, I've had to do a lot of that. I've had to make a lot of mental changes and revisit a lot of things in the past to find a clearer perspective in my own mind. So I have chosen to address my past, and that in turn has made me so much happier. So I think it can be a choice, yeah.
Amazing. Next question. Let's do it. Okay, next question is, if someone offered to tell your future, would you accept it or not, and why?
I wouldn't. I like not knowing. Simple things like not finding out the sex of our babies when we were pregnant. It's something we can't change. It's something that's going to happen, and I think the choices you make obviously depends on where you head. Like I've certainly missed out on a few opportunities, I think, in the past that have led me to where I am.
Yeah.
But I've ended up in a good place anyway. So I think you're on a path, and you will get to where you're meant to be, no matter what the choices you make. So yeah, no, I wouldn't want to know. I want to be surprised by what my future brings.
Tell me something, when you think about yourself, when you analyze Chris, what's the biggest joy of being you? What do you like the most about being yourself?
The thing I like most about myself, certainly in a modern day, is that I am past caring what other people think of me, and I get to just be silly and have fun and just truly be myself. Like I said to my daughter when I got in, she'd come in, she's like, I was singing and dancing, doing the cooking again. So she's like, stop being silly. I was like, I've just been singing and dancing through Aldi. I don't care. I'm too busy being happy to worry what anybody else thinks. So that's the best thing about me right now.
And you've always been this way?
No, I'm still in quite a way self-conscious, but I think because of my history at a time where I was quite depressed when I was younger, I was very self-conscious about other people's thoughts of me. So I didn't show all of me. I hid myself quite a lot for a long, long time. And so it wasn't until probably about 6 years ago I started to unlock that part of me, revisit my memories and revisit my past, and let go of a lot of stuff, a lot of them insecurities. I'm still quite shy. I'm still quite quiet.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely 1,000 times better than I used to be.
And when was the turn point that you realized that, when you felt free about carrying this in your shoulders, about what people think about you, there was a moment, or for you, naturally, you started to realizing that?
I think. Well, I think I can't remember what instigated it, but I think we were struggling. I think even as a married couple when we first were due to get married, my wife was dealing with a lot of grief, and that in turn made us open up about our communication.
Right.
So we had some communication failures, which obviously didn't help the relationship, and that helped me to open up and be more communicative and explain more of my problems, which helped her open up and reveal her problems, and communication became better. And in doing that, it made me have more conversations about the time when I was suicidal, because my dad didn't know, a lot of my friends didn't know, a lot of my family didn't know. But in deciding to tell them about that, it just unlocked this ability to be able to talk and free that weight. And so, yeah, that's kind of what happened, as a communication thing that led me to open up my mind.
Yeah, relationship, having a good communication is the main key for sure. Sometimes it takes a while for you to get, you know what I mean? Sometimes people, they get straight away. Some people take a while. Some people, I think every relationship, they're different. But, I think communication is one of the main keys for sure. Saying that, as I can see your eyes shining, talking about your wife, so far, what's been the most meaningful lesson you've learned from her?
Most meaningful lesson I've learned from her?
Yeah?
Yeah, communicate.
Why not?
Yeah, I think it's just, I say, for us as a couple, the biggest lesson for us is to continue to be ourselves.
Yeah.
Continue to have our own free space, our own adventure, our own hobbies, away from our spouse, away from our kids, away from our house. So that, as I think, as a joint thing, is the best thing we've learned as a couple, is to continue to have your own happiness individually.
Yep.
So yeah.
Okay, so she's watching this interview right now, and you have a moment, an opportunity to send her a message. What would you say?
If I was going to send my wife a message about this interview, or do you know what? My wife's currently working away. She works away every other weekend, and I would just send her a message just to say, "I love you," or "You're beautiful." Just enough. She'll be home tomorrow night, and we keep things simple generally. But I'll send her little messages like, missing you, and that's tend to be it right now. Just to let her know she's missed.
Oh, sweet, amazing. Next question. Let's do it. Before the next question, of course, we got connected through social media, through TikTok, yeah?
Yes.
And of course, going through your videos, I was watching one of your videos. As you mentioned before, you have this, positive vibe. You have this amazing personality where people can feel comfortable, like seeing be around you. My question for you is, what's the idea behind of your page? What's something that you'd like people to take with them when they watch your videos, when they see your lives? And of course, the title is Fun with Chris, yeah, which is amazing. So tell me, what's the idea behind your page on TikTok?
This is something I talk about a little bit every now and then. It's like when people come in my lives, they say, "What's the point of this live? What's the purpose?" And for me, there's no real purpose other than to connect with awesome people. I want to have natural communication with other creators or other people who enjoy watching creators. I don't ever ask for likes. I don't ever ask to share, to follow. I don't ask for gifts. I just want to communicate with people. And from my videos that I post, hopefully people will take that creativity falls anywhere and everywhere. If you're inspired to have some fun and film something, just go ahead and do it. Like I don't have any consistency, and I'm aware of that. Nothing that I do is consistent. I might find me doing some jiu-jitsu. I might be in the kitchen. I might be making coffee. Wherever inspiration takes, that's where I'm going to film something. And hopefully people can see that I'm having fun doing that. And if I'm having fun, hopefully make people smile. And that's all I want you to do, is just to smile and enjoy being with me.
Amazing. Yeah, and I think when you are, it's visible there because you can see yourself, you're just doing, your daily routine or something that you do quite often, and people, they appreciate that for sure. Amazing. Next question is, what's the best gift you have ever received?
There has to be children. It's got to be. Children are a gift. My children are amazing. I'm very fortunate that we have two healthy children, and they bring so much joy, pain, confusion, discomfort, but they're brilliant. And I absolutely enjoy watching each little stage of their life as they change their personality. So every little era of my children's growth is a new gift, except for the ones where they become backchay and argumentative. But yeah, watching them grow is a gift.
Wow. Tell me the feeling when you hold your first child born for the first time. Tell me the day, like, how was your emotions? Tell me something, like, when you go back to that memory in your life.
It's really hard to describe. It was obviously we were both super excited. We'd wanted to be parents for a long time. I always knew I wanted to be a dad from very young, and my wife has always wanted to be a mum. And it was just, to say, awesome to be there and to hold my wife and watch it all unfold, and then just pure joy afterwards for the both of us. I mean, if you go through that painful, uncomfortable, loud process, and then it's just silence and bliss, and it was lovely. It did bring tears to our eyes. We both sit there crying, watching our daughter just holding her. It's difficult to describe a true feeling, but it was just pure bliss. Beautiful.
Wow, amazing, great. Next question. Let's do it. Next question is, what makes you the happiest?
What makes me the happiest? Again, probably going on adventures with the family. We go out for walks in the country. We visit the woods. We go on the rope swing. We still have adventures. We're still silly together. We'll go on holiday and spend the whole time swimming together. We don't, if we go on a family holiday, we're together. We never palm them off to like a club or anything. It's just, we are on holiday together. We have fun. We mess about and watch this again. Like I say, watching my kids be creative as well and their curiosity. That's the biggest adventure. I think it's a lot of fun.
What's the meaning of life for you, Chris?
Living. Living is the meaning of life. Taking each day as it comes. I think it's just going out, seeing the world, experiencing everything that is available to you, traveling, seeing everything, doing as much as you can. That's live. Life is for living.
Tell me a life lesson that life has taught you that you feel very grateful for.
One of the biggest life lessons I think I've learned is to not pass up on opportunity. There have been many opportunities that I could have got involved in, but chose not to because I've been disparaged by other people or convinced that the opportunity isn't worth it, or by others. So the life lesson is, if opportunity comes knocking, if you can physically make it happen, say yes. Go and do it. And for you, not for anybody else. Your opportunities are your opportunities, not theirs. So live your life for you. Take your opportunities as they come.
Amazing. 3 questions left. Okay, before the next question, tell me how martial arts came into your life.
Martial arts. So I was kind of born and raised on martial arts movies. Obviously, my dad and his friends loved them, so I watched them from a very young age. My dad started with traditional sort of Chinese kung fu, probably when I was about 7, I think. And then I started about 9 years old. He invited me to his club. And so we trained, not together, children and adults in a different room, but we trained together. We trained frequently at home. So I was inspired, obviously, by martial arts movies to want to, be able to do the big flashy kicks and stuff. And my dad did it as well. My dad was the coolest person on the planet at the time. So, so that's, so he brought me into it, and it's been there ever since.
And how about jiu-jitsu? I'm originally from Brazil,
Yeah.
and growing up, I always heard jiu-jitsu is such a big thing in Brazil.
Yeah.
So how jiu-jitsu kind of somehow came into your life as well? It's through the same way that martial arts came as well, or?
No. So when I got a bit older, I had a friend who we shared a lot of interest in kind of extreme sports. So we did inline skating, we jumped mountain bikes, we went out skateboards, whatever kind of silly, dangerous sport came along, we had a go at. And then I think we must have been watching some UFC or something and said, yeah, we should have a go at that. And so we started training mixed martial arts. And obviously a subset of mixed martial arts is the grappling. And I didn't really take into jiu-jitsu at that point. I actually didn't really like it very much because I realized other people can choke me with my own jacket, and escaping was hard. I don't enjoy it. But then maybe about 8 years ago, I realized I didn't want to get punched in the face anymore for the sake of a hobby. The idea of concussion and that constantly it went away. So I was like, well, I enjoyed the grappling side of mixed martial arts, so maybe I'll try that. And so then I went to a gym one evening and they had it on. I was like, well, that's what we're doing then. So then jiu-jitsu started.
I see. Okay. Next question is, tell us about your earliest memory in life.
Okay. Earliest memories. Now, this is the thing about memories as well. This is, again, a thing that I've learned. They're not always yours. But one of the earliest things I remember is being in the back garden of our old house. And it was late, well, I suppose mid to late 80s. We had a massive amount of snow, and it was just snow piled up all on the table, all like really high. And remember just sort of like falling into it and getting lost in it, but not lost, but I'm here. But yeah, I remember our garden just being absolutely full of snow, and there were pockets that were deeper than others, and you could just fall into it and get lost. But equally, my dad was there, but my mum and my dad split up when I was 3 years old, and I don't know if I remember that or because of photographs I remember it, and because of conversation I remember it.
Right.
But those are things that sort of stick in my head, that kind of thing.
Wow. And do you have siblings as well or not?
Oh yes, yeah. I've got 4 sisters, 1 brother, two half brother, half sister, and another half sister. Obviously, parents are all remarried and stuff. But there's 3 of us originally, and then we've added another 3 to the mix.
And when we think about your childhood memories, there was someone that you always been close by. There was a person that somehow you are very close to.
In terms of siblings or just like friends?
Overall, when you think about your childhood memories, what's someone that comes to your mind straight away that's somehow left an impact in your life?
Again, it probably likely is my sisters, because I think as a family, when you go through separation, you spend a lot of time at the kids, just you together, a lot of time in our room, a lot of time like together out and about, because other things were going on elsewhere. And we played music together. We listened to vinyl a lot together. We jump off our beds together. We make our own little adventure, just the 3 of us together. So we were exceptionally close when we were kids. Yeah.
Cool. 2 questions left. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Before the next one, actually, what happened? Can you share what happened to your arms? I can see these scars here.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu happened to this hand. That I broke the 4th metacarpal, so my wedding ring finger. This bone in the top of my hand has snapped.
Wow.
It's like me and my friend were sparring, and as he moved forward, I moved forward at the same time, but my hand met his shoulder, so just popped. But yeah,
Are you back to jiu-jitsu after
well, yeah, when it comes off, we'll be back to jiu-jitsu. Yeah, it's an accident. It's a freak accident. These things happen.
that? Of course.
But yeah, it comes off tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, almost there.
Yeah.
I think this interview was made for you to remember always when you watch this interview. Like, yeah, that was my last day of my class.
Yeah. Well, that's to say on my post today, on my page today, I posted a video of me realizing that this is the last day, and it kind of looks like the gloves like a wrestler would wear. Like, yes. So yeah, I had a bit of fun earlier with it.
Before the next question, you mentioned in the beginning of the interview that you spent some time traveling because of work, entertainer.
Yes. Yeah. So when I was 18, my mum applied for me to be a children's entertainer for Thompson Holidays. I had no idea she'd done it, and all of a sudden I had an interview for Thompson Holidays.
Wow.
And so I got the job. I ended up having to go and do 3.5 weeks of training in Magaluf in Mallorca with like 250 other entertainers. And it was one of the most eye-opening moments of my life. Like those 3.5 weeks were amazing. Scary because I had to do it all alone, and as I said before, I was quite shy and worried about other people's opinions of me. And when you fly out to that job, you don't know anybody, and then you've landed in firstly at the airport, and then in a foreign country with a bunch of people you don't know, and all wondering what they're all gonna think of you for the next 3.5 weeks, and then I ended up getting the job and staying in Mallorca for 6 months.
Wow.
Entertaining children, doing stage shows, all
Wow.
that sort of stuff. And that led to being able to go and do work in the winter. So I went to Austria, working
Wow.
in a hotel, tidying bedrooms, and that wasn't entertaining. But I got to snowboard all winter, so it gave me a lot of freedom to explore some other lands, a bit of other language, some other culture. But yeah, that was the defining moment of my life for me. My soul and my spirit is like belongs in Mallorca now. It's
Wow.
If I go there, it's like being at home, and it's incredibly difficult to leave because it created the adult version of me who's a bit less concerned about other people's thoughts. But it still took a while after that, but it was good fun.
I think your mom, she kind of realized that artistic vein that was new, that you need to explore a little bit more at the age.
It's how she just wanted to get rid of me.
I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to say that. I just wanted to be polite. Okay, next question is, tell us about your guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure. Guilty pleasure. I don't think I'm guilty about any of my pleasures. No, as I say, I love my movies. I watch a lot of movies of any kind. Equally with music, I'm mostly based in like a rock music kind of genre. But if there's some pop, a bit of Accra, Barbie Girl, I'll be singing along. Yeah, I think again that part of the entertainer side of me is pop music, silly music allows more fun. So I will sing and dance my heart out to, a bit of Wigfield. Saturday night dance, I like the way you move.
Love the song. I love it.
My guilty pleasure is cheesy dance moves, like the Macarena. I can do all of that.
I think dancing, it's such a beautiful therapy because you just forget about everything. You just, close your eyes and just put everything out. I think it's one of the biggest therapy. 3 names of 3 big artists that you always be inspired by, like overall.
Just general art. Okay. Or music art, or just
music, actor, could be anyone. What's 3 favorite artists that's always been like favorites?
Okay, well, in terms of movies, my biggest inspiration was Jackie Chan.
Okay. Why?
Why?
I'm joking. Of course.
For me, Jackie Chan is like, he's obviously not the greatest actor in the world, but his comedy, his martial arts, and his acrobatics for me was stunning.
Yeah.
You can watch Bruce Lee and he's flawless and clean and tidy, but Jackie makes a mess of everything, but still comes out on top.
Very fast,
And then the other thing for Jackie is at the end of every film of Jackie's, he shows you just how many times he got it wrong, and that, you know, his success is built on failure. And that to me is like a massive thing, especially in the modern world with social media. Not obviously I didn't know it back then, but with social media, everything is perfect, everything is clean. All the people that youngsters look up to, they've all got the nice house, the nice car, everything's perfect. But in reality, there's so much other mess going on that they don't pay attention to or they don't show you. Totally. And so Jackie always did that. He got stuff wrong and he told you he got it wrong. And I love that about Jackie. Music-wise, in more recent years, the band Papa Roach, they come into my life in 2000, about 2000, when I was kind of at my lowest point in my mental health. And their music and their lyrics just kind of resonated and like met with the heart and with what I was feeling, so you could connect with them at the time. But I was raised on like Buddy Holly, Michael Jackson, those kind of, so a massive variety of music. But yeah, when I was at my lowest point, the band Papa Roach come along and I stumbled across them by accident. But now, you know, listen to all their music, seen them live a bunch of times. I've met them a few times. And yeah, so I connect a lot with them. And I guess like physical art, I don't know about physical art. And what else can I think of? I don't know. I don't really. So I do like art, general art, but I couldn't pinpoint a single like artist. But say, but yeah, say in my movies, sort of Jackie Chan, Papa Roach, the music, and that's where we are.
Perfect. Next question. Ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Next question. All right. So before the last question, you know, you talked very open the beginning of the interview about the period of your life where you were a bit insecure about yourself. You cared too much what people thought about, and you had some very deep thoughts as well about your own life. People watching this interview right now, maybe they are in that place, you know, that you've been in the past. That maybe they are trapped somehow, and they don't see the way out, or maybe they think that they're alone. They think they're not in a good mindset right now.
Yeah.
What would be your best piece of advice for those people?
Well, the thing that has worked the best for me, in all honesty, is talking openly about how I felt. And then after you've done that, to revisit the memories that have created that funk, that problem. And if you can, with those memories, the people that were involved, if you can get them involved in your new thought process, that will help. Like I was stuck in my memory of how I felt like that at the time was that I was very alone. Like I had nobody at home and I had nobody at school, and my life was a 2-mile trek to walk to school every day to feel miserable, to then walk 2 miles home to feel miserable at home. And in opening up and talking about it, it turns out that I wasn't alone, but people didn't approach me, like my family didn't talk to me, because they knew if they did, I'd blow up and I'd run away. So it wasn't that they weren't there and they weren't paying attention. They were just waiting for me to open up. So in opening up, I've learned that I wasn't alone, that people were there and people did care, but they were also catering for my needs at the time without me knowing it. But I've spoken to the guy who was my biggest bully. We had an hour and a half video chat a couple of years ago,
Wow.
And he reminded me of a few things of how I was horrible to him for a period of time. And of course, I'd forgotten all of that because I was too worried about how he was horrible to me. And I think it's realizing that your memories are distorted and you only remember from your side.
Yes.
So open up, talk about your issues, and revisit your memories. I'm not saying it's gonna answer all your questions,
No.
but revisiting your memories and involving the people who were there at the time is, for me, is what helped. So yeah, so do that. Unlock your own memories.
Wow. Have you forgiven those people in the past that somehow left a negative impact in your life?
Yep. Yeah, I've tried to reconnect with every single one of them.
Amazing.
I've got one person left who won't respond to me. But yeah, I did. I've been in touch with just about everyone I've fallen out with. I even I went back to my old school to take my son there, as it goes. I ended up I bumped into a teacher there who asked me if I enjoyed being at that school, and I burst into tears in front of her face. Just stood there, I was just like, nah, this place was painful. But in having done that, that even in itself, talking about it in the place that caused the most pain, just released a lot of it. And now my son goes to that school. I showed him around the school. I can go pick him up to the school, and I got absolutely no problem being there. But yeah, the first time back after 20 years was painful.
Wow. I think you need that time for you to put all these tears out that was holding somehow there.
Yeah. I think you need. It's so easy to say now that I've done it, but you need to find a way to release that history. Like, again, for us, we were 14, 15-year-old kids. Yeah. We're all a bunch of idiots. We're all immature, stupid assholes. Yeah. And now as adults with kids and families, we're all different people. And we've moved on so far. But yeah, forgiveness, it's not forget, it's forgiveness. You know, I'll never forget the pain of that time. Like still now, if I get into that mindset of the memory of how I felt at that time, it still really hurts. But it's all, I'm dealt with that. It's gone. It's not a problem for me in my daily life, but the pain will never go away. The memories won't go away of how I felt, but the forgiveness has been a massive, massive part of it.
I love the way you mentioned, Chris, about, somehow you saw the other side as well of the other people when they talk to them, because somehow you're totally right. We get so trapped in our own pain because it's normal. You trap yourself there. But when you kind of somehow put yourself in the other side as well, I think it's freeing somehow. It's somehow you understand more. And there's always both sides. Sometimes even the bullers, they're not in a good place either. And sometimes they just want to somehow to, you know what I mean? Maybe they don't do the right way, but it's just, as you said, you are a teenager, you don't understand much about life, and sometimes you just do it.
Well, that's again what it turned out to be. The guy who was my biggest problem had a giant problem at home.
Can you imagine?
And he became that problem to protect himself.
Totally.
And I didn't care about that at the time, obviously.
He's alone. Yeah.
And now hearing his story, it was you can it doesn't excuse it, but you can understand it.
Totally.
But yeah, so it's been amazing opening up and talking to people, to being honest and revisiting it. It's painful part of it, but it was good, and overall it has helped massively.
I love that. I really like that. I think it's a good way for you to understand more about your life in the past, and to understand more the place where you are right now as well. I think it's important. Love that. I will remember that for sure.
Good.
Last question is, if you won the lottery, what would be your first big splurge?
Now, we've always kind of said this, but it would be just to pay off the mortgage. For us, not having that expense just makes so much more freedom.
Yeah.
Now we always talk. Can you imagine? Like I've grown up. My granddad took me to racing when I was younger, and he bought me a Lamborghini model. And for years, for my life, it's like, well, that's the boy racer car that I want as I grow up. Now it'd be lovely to be able to afford to drive a Lamborghini, but in reality, it's just freedom, a little bit more peace. But yeah, I've got to buy a Lamborghini. I'll buy a villa in the sunshine somewhere. I'll go, move to Mallorca. But yeah, to me, just the biggest thing to start with, but just pay off the mortgage. If the money disappeared after that, at least I've got a little bit more freedom and a little less stress.
Amazing. Good. It's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game. I'm going to give away just one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking. Let's start with money.
Freedom.
Fear.
A tool.
Family.
Love.
Life.
Live.
Religion.
Religion. I don't know. What was the first word come to my head was probably something really negative. Well, there you go. Negative.
Okay, there you go. Love.
Happiness.
Okay. Sex.
Joy.
Okay. Politics.
Confusing.
Okay. Friendship.
Happiness.
Desire.
Excitement.
Regret.
Unfortunate.
Okay. Success.
Happiness. I've said happiness a few times now.
Okay, not a problem. Not right or wrong. And one word for happiness.
So joy, happiness, pleasure.
Okay. One word for Kent.
Another word for Kent.
Brazilian accent.
Yeah. Kent. Home.
One word for England.
Nice.
I like the way you said nice.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, no, it's tricky. Like, I think we're at a time where everybody kind of, is negative towards England, but in the reality of the whole world, we're still in a really nice place. And the people are blind to the outside of the walls of where we live. But I think in reality, we're really fortunate to live where we do.
I can tell. I'm from Brazil, and I love my country. I love, but I can tell it's great to be in England for sure. I mentioned. And the last one now, fun with Chris. One word.
Fun with Chris. Spontaneity.
I like it. Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your wife for a coffee, and I'm going to ask her, define Chris in one positive and one negative word only. What should say?
One positive. Loving.
Negative?
One negative. Financially dumb.
Oh dear. Let's play now, Chris, in the magic box, and you can ask me a question. But before that, let's play the music one more time. Let's do it.
Okay.
Before we ask him the question, back to the word association game. One word for martial arts.
Discipline.
Amazing. Can you ask me a question now?
Yes. Now, I thought about this, obviously, as you asked the question. And for me, it is, what is the one opportunity in life that you let slide by?
Ooh, that's a painful question.
Yeah.
Oh, painful, for sure. Okay. The first thing that came to my mind is a situation. However, at the time it was painful, but now after that, I was grateful for it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So when I arrived in London, I was working in an Italian restaurant, and I've always been very enthusiastic about work, and I love working. So, Chris, I love being, doing something. I cannot be still. And I remember I used to work in this restaurant for a few months, 6, 7 months more or less. And my manager and I started to train some new people. And it was this lovely Italian guy. He started working, and he was such a great guy. He couldn't speak English very much. Arrived in London, and I gave the best of me to teach him. One point, he got promoted as a supervisor. Wow. And I felt so bad. And I felt, because how come I was training him and suddenly he got the opportunity, not with him, but I got with my manager. Yeah. And so what I did, I put a mood. I was very young as well. Anyway, I didn't have the knowledge I have now, but I literally changed my behavior, not in a bad way, but this enthusiastic person that I've always been, somehow I just lost a little bit of it.
Yeah.
Back to our age, sometimes they don't know how to deal with that. And, I just lost interest in the work. I was still going to work. I was doing my best, but I wasn't there anymore. And I started to, slide down and being not. And suddenly my manager, once she called me and she said to me, "William, I'm going to just be very honest to you. This restaurant, there was a chain. They have different restaurants in London. And before that, everything was already organized for me to go to another restaurant, to be,
right.
Everything was there already organized. Yeah. However, because my attitudes, they didn't let me.
Right.
I felt at the time, I felt really bad. But after that, I applied to work in a 5-star hotel, which was, I made a massive career there and loved it. And it was a 5-star environment. I had the opportunity to meet big star. I met Meryl Streep. I met all those big stars. And if I didn't go through that, maybe I was there until that point. So it hurt me. It was painful at the time, because I felt, William, if you hold your emotions for a bit longer, you would be in a higher position and maybe you'll be happy. However, I wasn't mature enough to deal with the situation. Yeah. So kind of slide down a little bit. And but I was grateful afterwards, because I started a new career in a different environment, which I was very happy to. But back to your question, it was painful.
Yes. Yeah. No. Yeah, I can imagine it was. But this is what I was saying earlier about, your choices. You still end up where you're meant to be.
Totally. Totally. Absolutely. And I felt after that, I felt so grateful that not that I behaved that way, but how things turned out there. Because I was very happy at that job. However, when she told me that, I felt horrible. I felt bad. I said, if I could turn time back, I would change my behavior, but it was already too late. However, looking back, I was great for it. So great question. I love it. Good. That's something that it was painful, for sure. Did you enjoy the interview, Chris?
Yeah, it's been good. Thank you.
Thanks again. Thanks for being so kind and sweet and accepting the invitation. Thanks for bringing this great energy to the show as well. Before you go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
Yeah, so again, I looked into this and I looked at a few quotes. There's a few things that I say, not I suppose a famous quote I would have said for myself was, like to revisit your past, unlock your memories, and create a new future. But the one positive quote that I did find that I read that I quite liked was to stay away from people who negate your ambition. Small minds will always do that. Great minds will help you feel like you can be great too.
Wow. It says everything for sure.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thanks again. Regards to your wife, to your kids and family, and you keep in touch. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, William.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Good luck tomorrow with the jiu-jitsu back again.
Yeah, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, man.
Bye. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye-bye. See you next time.